All right, welcome back as we continue. And again, more news out of Tennessee. They had gone a couple of days with no positive tests. And then today, 2 more positive tests. And that means the game against the Bills now on Sunday is in jeopardy. You know, they were planning to get back to their facility tomorrow, but because now the NFL is really investigating what transpired last week. Apparently a bunch of guys went rogue on their own and practiced when they weren't supposed to, away from the facility. And potentially that contributed to some of this other stuff as well. So, you know, you wonder what the NFL will do because they have evidence now. And Chris, they can do a lot of things, but it seems like Mike Vrabel, he's the head of everything that goes on down there. He has to be responsible for this because he's the guy who has to set the tone for these players. And I cannot believe that he didn't know that they were just practicing on their own away from the facility, as the video seemed to prove. Your take on what should happen next?
Well, I mean, you said going rogue. Going rogue would imply that Vrabel actually didn't know what was going on. I guarantee. I can't say I guarantee that he did. I can say 99% in certainty I can tell you that he told Ryan Tannehill, hey, get these guys together, go work out real quick, be quiet about it, let's just try to get some reps in here. This has Mike Vrabel's fingerprints all over it. I honestly believe he should be suspended for the rest of the regular season. They did it to Sean Payton in New Orleans. You could just cite the old lack of institutional control that always gets used whenever a college football head coach gets a huge penalty. Why not that for Mike Vrabel? Just unbelievably irresponsible, direct middle finger to the NFL and their protocols and their policies. Why not drop a hammer on him? I haven't heard a compelling reason why the NFL shouldn't make an example out of him yet.
Especially after last week, he was the guy who came on and said, you know, it's a pandemic. You can't really blame anyone. And then all of a sudden this happens. There seems to be plenty of blame to go around with Tennessee, especially if this now wrecks more of the schedule. And that's why the word forfeit comes into play. Chris, I still can't believe the NFL will do that. There's too much at stake to do that. But if they don't do that, what would be, you say suspend Vrabel for the entire season. What about make them ineligible for the playoffs? What about doing something else? But I can't see forfeit happening. That would set a bad precedent to me anyway.
I think forfeit is the league's last resort simply from a financial standpoint. They want no part of actually doing that. I think suspend Vrabel for the rest of the season. You can fine heavily all the players who were proven to have been involved in that little impromptu off-site workout. The thing I don't love, though, because I think it reeks of like college football to me, is the postseason ineligibility thing. Because say the Titans get, they don't have to forfeit any games. Maybe they lose to the Steelers. Maybe they lose to the Bills. So there's like no harm, no foul done there, right? And then they get themselves righted and end up, 12-4, 13-3, and you don't put them in the playoffs. I mean, this isn't college football where there are a ton of bowl games where when, like, say, Auburn years and years ago went 13-0 and didn't get to play in the postseason. People screamed and people said, okay, whatever. I mean, this is the NFL. There's 32 teams. People would be up in arms if a really good football team, which Tennessee might be, was left out.
All right, we've got a lot of calls here. Let's get right to them, beginning with Jim in Castle Shannon. Hey, Jim, go ahead.
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Good, thanks. What's up?
Hey, I heard a rumor that Andre Fleury might come back and play for the Penguins. Is that true?
Pretty much having a yard sale on him. He's out there. They're going to take half the salary away and even give you a second-round pick if you want him. I could not disagree with this more if I'm Vegas. I would choose Fleury over Robin Lehner. Robin Lehner is not the same goalie as Marc-Andre Fleury, who I think is still better than him, and yet he's going to get the deal, and Fleury is on his way out. And I guess the question would be, Chris, could you see him ending up here in Pittsburgh? And I wouldn't be against that either.
Could I see it? Probably not. Do I want to see it? Definitely not. I am just so tired of Marc-Andre Fleury looming over everything that happens in goal for this franchise. Jarry is better than Fleury. Jarry is better than Murray. Jarry should be the man without any distractions. I'm exhausted by the Fleury discourse here. Matt Murray gets traded, and one of the first comments I see on Twitter is somebody saying, yeah, he might have won 2 cups, but he's no Marc-Andre Fleury. I don't care. I remember when Marc-Andre Fleury couldn't stop a beach ball in 2012, when he lost his net in 2013, when he couldn't hold a 3-1 lead against Hank Lundqvist and the Rangers in the playoffs. When did we make this guy out to be the patron saint of goaltending in this city and somebody that people are still pining for years after his departure? It's ridiculous.
Well, he is a Hall of Famer, and he will be. But the thing, if he came here, it would be completely to back up, as I said, the goaltending situation, I think, with DeSmith won't be as good as if Fleury was there instead of DeSmith.
He would absolutely usurp Tristan Jarry, and it would be a nightmare for Jarry.
No,
yes,
you would.
yes, he would.
No, you would.
Jarry would be facing criticism the minute he had one bad game. The usual zealot wing of the Penguins fan base would come out of the woodwork and demand that Marc-Andre Fleury play, or they'd start photoshopping their own swords into his back.
That's an interesting tweet, but I don't think it'd be a problem. I think he's confident enough in his abilities, and I think if that role were specific to Fleury, if he wanted to come back here. He may not want to come back here for all I know. We'll see. Let's go out to Tom, who joins us on line 3. Hey, Tom, what's up?
Hey, good. How you doing, guys?
Good, what's up?
I had 2 quick questions. This year with the Steelers, why hasn't, I mean, in your opinion, with Fitzpatrick, hasn't not been an impact this year? And, you know, I wonder why, which he was great last year. And my second question would be, with Ben, I would say his elbow is great. He's overthrown the deep ball. What's the reasoning maybe behind why he's overthrown? Could it be, you know, the receivers or, you know, the timing patterns? And all
I think it's a simple First of all, I think he's done pretty well. He's got a passer rating that I think you'd take throughout the course of the regular season, right, Chris? If he just continued to do what he's been doing at these kind of levels and numbers, I wouldn't have a problem with it, but I still think he's just trying to get back to where he feels totally comfortable, and I don't know he's reached that yet.
Deep balls are always lower percentage. I mean, you're throwing the ball a lot further, a lot more can go wrong. I wish he was hitting a few more of them. I do think he's overthrowing it because I do think there's a testing the arm strength component to that. But by and large, yeah, I'm happy with his play to the extent that I think he's played mostly mistake-free football with an exception here or there. As for Fitzpatrick, he's playing way off the line of scrimmage, and I would expect sooner rather than later when this schedule toughens up that you're going to see him, I would hope, you're going to see him start making more plays and inserting himself into the game a lot more regularly. All
right, let's go out to the lines, and we have Anthony now who wants to talk about some Pitt football. What's up, Anthony?
Like in between December to February, I think.
You weren't paying, right?
Anthony. All right, Anthony wasn't paying attention.
So something in December, the end of February, I don't know. Yeah, sure. What do we even say about that? Do you want me to make up a point Anthony was bringing up, Chris? Why didn't they get?
If you want to.
I have something on Pitt football. I thought it was interesting that Phil Jurkovec, and I don't really have any reason for Phil Jurkovec to, I can't think of any reason to, that he would be so critical of Pitt, but he talked about how when he decided to leave Notre Dame, Boston College was very clearly hottest on his heels, and they made it clear that they wanted him more than anybody else. If he's telling the truth about that, what on earth was Pitt doing? Not trying to bang down his door and say, please, please, please come to Pitt.
I would agree with that. I would have said the same exact thing. I really appreciate that guy's talent, and I think with more confidence as the season goes on, you're going to see really good things from him out of Boston College. All right, it's time for our Tri-State Office Furniture Tweet of the Day, and this comes to us from college football on ESPN. How about this, Chris? 104 years ago today, Georgia Tech beat Cumberland in the most lopsided game in college football history. The final score was 222-0. And how about minus 42 rushing yards, 15 turnovers by Cumberland, and 978 rushing yards for Georgia Tech. 978.
I actually know the story of this. Cumberland College's quarterback got knocked unconscious, I think, on one of the first plays of the game, and they pretty much had no chance without him. However, I am told that a lot of people out there had Cumberland College plus 223 on the day, so they still went home winners.
Not one pass thrown by Georgia Tech in that game. It's unbelievable.
That's more like 20 yards in a cloud of dust, not 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Exactly. We're going to take a break, come back with more right here on Pittsburgh CW. Don't go away.